What's going on, guys? So in today's video, we'll be looking at why Aaron Gordon should have been the 2016 Slam Dunk Champion, an award which was given to Zach LaVine. Now, while the first round of the 2016 Slam Dunk competition also included Will Barton and Andre Drummond, it was Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon that separated themselves right off the bat with memorable dunks that allowed them to advance to the finals. Aaron Gordon's dunks in the first round included a one-handed between-the-legs reverse dunk, as well as a between-the-legs dunk over the Orlando Magic mascot, while Zach LaVine threw down a lob behind-the-back reverse dunk and a one-handed alley-oop dunk from the free throw line assisted by Andre Miller, which we'll be focusing on to make our first point. Now, what must be made clear is that as great as this dunk may have been, this was not a free throw dunk by any reasonable measure, as his left foot was clearly inside the free throw line. In fact, when looking back at the history of the slam dunk competition, we see that most of the quote-unquote free throw dunks were indeed past the free throw line. Whether it's Dr. J's infamous free throw dunk in the 1976 ABA dunk contest, or the one in the 1984 NBA dunk contest. The same goes for Michael Jordan's free throw dunks in 1987 and 1988, or Brent Berry in 1996, Vince Carter in 2000, Josh Smith in 2005, or even James White in 2013. In fact, only a few players have truly been able to execute a perfect free throw line dunk. This includes Michael Jordan in the 1985 Slam Dunk competition, Scottie Pippen in the 1990 Slam Dunk competition, and more recently, Serge Ibaka in 2011. So in going back to Zach LaVine's free throw dunk in 2016, it's now clear that as great as it seemed, it clearly fell short of the standard for what an actual free throw line dunk is supposed to be. This, however, didn't stop the judges from giving Zach LaVine an almost perfect score of 49, which leads us right into our second point. And that is the inconsistency with which Magic Johnson scored that particular dunk. Because if we were to go back to the 2008 Slam Dunk competition, which also featured Magic Johnson as one of the judges, we see that Jamario Moon was actually the very first player to ever do a one-handed alley-oop dunk from the free throw line. The only difference being that he dunked the ball with his left hand as opposed to his right hand. And much like Zach LaVine, he also took off from just inside the free throw line. But despite the fact that both dunks were essentially the same, Magic Johnson gave Zach LaVine a perfect score of 10 in 2016, despite not truly being innovative, and gave Jamario Moon a score of just 9 in 2008, even though he was the originator of that particular dunk. Now, the finals is where a lot of the controversy originated surrounding this specific dunk contest. Starting with Aaron Gordon's very first dunk, which should have tipped the scale in his favor. So let's have a look.
No, this is real. This is real. Okay. This is real. This is real. Here's what you do and how you do it. Yeah. Wait a minute. That's beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Yes. Gordon is excited the crowd. Oh my God.
That was my pick. Man. This was my pick, kid. This was my pick.
Charles, that, because of the timing, that everything he did on that, everything he did on that makes you understand what a he cupped it. He cupped it and he put it behind his hand, behind his neck like Karl Malone, and then did the dunk. That is the best dunk in the last 5 years. You just got that might be the best dunk in the last 5 years.
Because LaVine had some stuff last year.
No,
that was great.
But then when you have the guy spinning on that hoverboard and the timing at that time, the timing when he...
So now let's see what Zach LaVine did to follow this up, and listen closely to what the TNT crew had to say.
Okay, Zach said, okay, it's the same dunk. Without the recoverable.
But we'll take
It's the same. That's 9.
That's tough.
That's 9. Because it was. That's a 10. If he doesn't mind
the slam dunk trophy is going to Orlando, Florida.
If he had did that dunk before the other one, we would be more excited about it.
Yeah. That's not as good.
It's the same dunk.
He don't put his hands behind his head.
That's a great dunk. That's a great dunk.
That's pretty impressive.
That's a great dunk.
Hey, Chuck, man. That's hard. That's a hard one to judge.
So as we've seen and then heard, Zach LaVine's first finals dunk was practically identical to Aaron Gordon's dunk. The only difference being that Zach LaVine did it off the bounce, and that unlike Aaron Gordon, he didn't put his offhand behind his head. But despite this clear lack of creativity and originality on the part of Zach LaVine, the judges still rewarded this dunk with a perfect score of 50, which is nonsensical since Aaron Gordon's dunk was better and thus was supposed to put him ahead of Zach LaVine at that moment. Nevertheless, the very next dunk by Aaron Gordon, which was by far the best dunk of the night, was the infamous under the legs and over the mascot dunk, which sent the crowd into a frenzy and easily earned him a perfect score of 50, which was then followed by a windmill dunk from the free throw line by Zach LaVine. However, as it was made clear earlier, the standard for an actual free throw line dunk demands that the dunker take off at or before the free throw line. And Zach LaVine once again fell short of that standard as his left foot was clearly past the free throw line. This, however, didn't deter the judges from giving Zach LaVine another perfect score of 50, which consequently sent the dunk contest into a sudden death round. Now, after Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine each received 50 on their first dunk of the sudden death round, the judges then gave Aaron Gordon a collective score of 47 for his second dunk, which was severely underrated. Furthermore, there was also a level of inconsistency with which George Gervin scored this particular dunk. Because if we were to go back to the 2005 slam dunk competition, which also featured George Gervin as one of the judges, we'd see that one of Amari Stoudemire's dunks was a simple double clutch reverse dunk. And despite Amari Stoudemire not cocking it back behind his head like Aaron Gordon before going into a double clutch reverse dunk, George Gervin still rewarded Amari Stoudemire with a score of 9, which is the exact same score he gave to Aaron Gordon in 2016, even though his dunk had a much higher degree of difficulty. Nonetheless, George Gervin and the other judges would then give Zach LaVine a perfect score for what was supposed to be a between-the-legs dunk from the free throw line, which put him ahead and ultimately earned him the victory. And as impressive as that dunk seemed to have been, it is important to remember once again that free throw line dunks are only truly impressive when they're from the free throw line and shouldn't be fully rewarded otherwise. Especially when in Zach LaVine's case, his foot was well past the free throw line. But when looking back at that dunk contest as a whole, it's evident that there was a clear bias for Zach LaVine to repeat as a slam dunk champion. From the moment he was introduced to the Toronto crowd and came out to the song Back to Back by Drake, who is Toronto's biggest star and one of Zach LaVine's supporters, to the obvious favoritism that many NBA players who were courtside displayed throughout the competition by flagrantly overreacting to Zach LaVine's dunks while remaining indifferent to Aaron Gordon's dunks. This bias then filtered down to the judges, who in turn rewarded Zach LaVine with the highest average score in the history of the slam dunk competition. Meanwhile, Aaron Gordon's average score for that year is tied with Zach LaVine's 2015 performance at 7th. But the smoking gun that revealed the bias that the judges had for Zach LaVine more than anything was the very first dunk of the finals, where he copied Aaron Gordon and was somehow still given a perfect score. And it was that inexplicable decision by the judges that ultimately ended up costing Aaron Gordon the win. Because while Zach LaVine did score higher in the sudden death round and was ultimately declared the winner, the truth is that the dunk contest should have never gone that far, given the fact that Aaron Gordon had already outdunked Zach LaVine in the finals. Which is also why the ideal of there being co-winners is laughable. And although Zach LaVine did put on a great performance, the 2016 Slam Dunk competition ultimately belonged to Aaron Gordon, who that night displayed supreme athleticism, impeccable timing, raw power, and a level of creativity that simply could not be matched.
Is your sister and your brother still mad at me? Because after the dunk contest where they thought I was unfair, they tried to beat me up. Second question, can you give us a hint of what type of dunks you are going to do? Because I admit I was impressed. Some of the dunks you did I've never seen before. Are you going to repeat those dunks, or are you coming with something new?
I'm not sure, actually. First, they're not mad at you, bro. We understand, because at the end of it, I mean, you gave me a 9, probably should have gave it 10. There's a lot, that's neither here nor there. But little salt.